Hello there, this is the third of my Excel tutorial videos. In the first video we went over some basic orientation to cell formatting. In the second video we went over some of the basic functions or formulas in Excel and how we can make use of performing a formula on many numbers all at once. And in this one, as promised, we're going to go over some nesting of formulas as well as some other things. But before we get started, I'm going to start off where we left off last time. I'm just going to clean up some of this data. You can see that all these numbers are different lengths and it kind of bugs me. And as I pointed out in tutorial number 1, we can change the number of decimal places with these arrows over here. Well, click the data. There we go. We can just change that so they all look the same. Same thing over here. Let's change all these to scientific since some of them need to be scientific. And there we go. They all look nice and neat now. And I also noticed that I made a mistake over here. Instead of putting in A2 minus B2, I just put in A2 minus 2. I can fix that real quick here. And I need to propagate it to all the rest of these. So I just changed it in this cell and it's still wrong on all these cells here. And when I click through these, you can look up here, see what the formula actually is in each cell. So to propagate that to the rest of these cells, I can double click on this. Boom. And now I have this column minus this column in this column. Okay. Now nesting. Now let's say I want to right now this multiply column is multiplying column A by column B basically. What if I wanted to multiply column C by column D? Now I could do that by just putting in C and D up here. Boom. But I could, rather than having, by the way, that's the, let me hit back. If I don't feel like double clicking, I can also drag that formula all the way down here. It's the same thing as double clicking it down. Boom. So now I have this multiplying the value here by the value here. Now there's another way to do that. I could get rid of these columns altogether and include the addition subtraction functions within this one formula. To do that, I need to nest formulas, and I do that with parentheses. So for the first I'm going to add column A and column B, so A2 plus B2, and then I'm going to multiply that by another parentheses, A2 minus B2, and I get the same thing. Now watch, what are my values down here? Minus 1083. So if I propagate that down, boom, same thing. You notice if I double click on this now, I have a multiplication which started off with, and I have a nested addition here and a nested subtraction there. Now that's fine and dandy. What if I wanted to divide all of this by this square root value over here? Well, let's do the same nesting here. Now I'm going to need an extra set of parentheses here. For example, actually let me go over here. I'm going to copy all this just to make it easy on myself. I'm going to put open parentheses, paste, close parentheses, then I'm going to divide by this over here. So you can see I have an addition and a subtraction. The values of those are multiplied, and the value of that is divided by the square root. So there you go. And that, again, I can fix that. 2 decimal places all the way down. And that, double click on this so you can see it, nested formula. Now, what if I want to change this formula? Well, let's say that instead of B2, I want C2. Well, I can go over here and I can grab this and just pull it right over, right there. And that C2, that B2 becomes a C2 here. Boom. Likewise, if I wanted this B2 over here to be C2, I could just drag it again, right there. See, now I have A2 plus C2 and A2 minus C2. And I could do the same thing. I could drag these wherever I wanted. Now there's some limitations. You can't have a circular reference, but you can change the formula just by dragging these colored blocks around. See that? All right. Now, let's say that I want to, let's go over here in the addition column. What if I wanted to add a constant value? Now, yeah, what if I wanted to add a constant value? I can do that by using, let's just create a value up here, and I'm going to label it put constant up here, but you don't need this. That's just to make it clear. And I'm going to put, let's say 256 up here in B2, in B1 256. Okay, so over here, instead of adding B4, let's say I want to, undo. Double click on this, put that up there, boom. Okay, that's fine, but if I propagate this, it's gonna go all screwy because every time this formula moves down, it moves its reference down. You see that here it's referencing B1, but here it's referencing B2, here it's referencing B3, which isn't a number. It says it's this value here. So it doesn't know what to think there, and this is like an error value. Okay, now if I want to hold this segment of the equation on that number, I can do that very easily. Let's say I want to hold the row constant. I always want this value to reference row 1. All I need to do is right in front of the 1 is place a $sign, and that's right over the 4 key. Okay, so now this B $1 will always reference B1. Well, it's always reference row 1, let's say. Okay, so that's 257. Now if I propagate that, you'll see that this column is this column plus this constant. And that's how you do constant constraint. Now, what if I wanted to make all of these adds? Propagate this. There we go. And let's go 257, 258. Now, I can do the same thing that right now, if I messed it up. Right now, if I drag this formula across, you can see over here, it's this plus this. If I move over 1, the formula moved over 1, and so on. You see that how that does that? Now let's say I want to always have it be the column 1 times this number, let's say. Let's say I always want to have the first value, this value here, always come from column A. Okay, I can do that by putting the $ in front of the A, and that will hold column A fixed. Okay, now when I bring this across, you can see that this is changing columns. This value is changing columns, and this value is holding the column fixed. Now I can, whoops, undo that. Be careful when you have this highlighted like this. If you click on another cell, it'll change the formula. So before you click on another cell, hit enter. That'll hold it fixed. And now I can select these, propagate them to the other cells. Oh, keep on clicking the wrong spot. There we go. And you can see that this column is held fixed and this row is held fixed throughout this segment. And that's by you place a $ next to the column or the row that you want to hold fixed in that formula, and then it holds that fixed when you drag the formula. And that's about it for this series. In the next series, we'll get into some trigonometry and some graphing of data. So tune into the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.